The fate of Earth began to unravel the moment the Galactic Council made their decision. For centuries, humanity had been nothing more than a speck in the eyes of the galaxy's most powerful species. From the stars, the Council had observed Earth, judging humans to be a primitive species. The Council saw Earth as no more than a curiosity, a planet where the creatures below were destined to remain ignorant and weak. They didn't view humanity as a threat. Until now. As Earth's technology progressed rapidly, surpassing the expectations of every alien civilization, the Galactic Council began to take notice. The humans, once considered insignificant, were no longer just another developing race. They were evolving faster than many of the galaxy's oldest civilizations, and that was something the Council couldn't ignore. The balance of power was shifting, and the Council, in their infinite wisdom, made a drastic decision. Humanity had to be destroyed before it could become a real threat. One by one, species from across the stars, species who had never spoken to each other before, began to unite under one single cause: the complete annihilation of Earth. From the insectoid Feryx, who could tear through metal with ease, to the towering, six-armed Xeruk, whose strength was legendary, to the energy-based Vethiri, capable of manipulating power beyond human understanding. All were now allies in a single destructive mission. Even the Kraktar warlords, known for their brutal ways and their unrivaled weaponry, had committed to the cause. The Council believed that nothing could stand against such a united force. The camera zooms in on the faces of these alien leaders. Cold, calculating eyes stare back, each one determined to carry out the mission. Ships, massive, dark vessels, are being prepared. The engines hum with power, ready to tear through space. Weapons are calibrated to strike Earth's very core, ensuring that no resistance would be left standing. It seemed that nothing could stop them. The countdown had begun, and Earth's fate seemed sealed. Humanity had no chance. But just as the first of the fleets began to launch, their destination set on Earth, something unexpected happened. Part 1. Breakdown. On Earth, the news spread quickly. Governments worldwide scrambled to make sense of the shocking decision, but it was too late. The Galactic Council's fleet had already begun its journey to Earth, and the countdown to the planet's destruction was already in motion. The initial reaction from the people was one of utter panic. Cities emptied as fear gripped the population. People gathered in the streets, some crying, some desperately praying, others preparing for what they believed to be the inevitable end. Yet, among the chaos, something incredible was happening behind the scenes. While the world panicked, the brightest minds on Earth were working, not in fear, but with a quiet, determined urgency. Scientists, military strategists, and world leaders worked in secret, knowing that their survival depended on their ability to act swiftly. At the heart of Earth's defense was Dr. Elena Pierce, a brilliant scientist and military strategist. For years, she had anticipated that Earth's rapid progress would one day attract unwanted attention from beyond the stars. She had always believed that humanity was stronger than the galaxy gave them credit for. But the scale of the threat was unlike anything she had ever imagined. An alliance of the galaxy's most powerful species, all intent on wiping Earth off the map. She hadn't planned for this. Dr. Pierce had been developing a secret weapon, a last line of defense that, in her mind, might be enough to turn the tide. But even she knew it might not be enough. Time was running out. The alien fleets were closing in, and Earth's best hope lay in something that was still far from ready. As the countdown ticked away, Earth's defense systems began to activate, one by one. Secret satellites hidden in orbit came online. Hidden military bases beneath mountains hummed to life. Advanced weapons systems that had been dormant for years suddenly sprang into action, all operating under the radar, ensuring that the world's enemies had no idea what was coming. But Earth's people had no idea either. Only a select few, including Dr. Pierce and General Marcus, the head of Earth's defense force, knew the full extent of the preparations. In a high-tech underground facility deep within the Rockies, Dr. Pierce was on the phone with General Marcus. "We can't show our hand yet," she said, her voice calm but urgent. "Let them think we're weak. Let them think we're helpless. They'll never see it coming." The camera cuts to a wide shot of the first alien fleet as it enters Earth's orbit. Massive ships loom above the planet like harbingers of doom, their dark hulls blotting out the stars. The fleet is coming. The suspense built up. Back on Earth, things were getting worse. News reports flashed across screens in every home and every business, showing images of the alien ships preparing for an orbital bombardment. Cities were put on lockdown, and military forces were mobilizing, but the overwhelming force of the alien fleets made Earth's defenses feel like a mere speck in comparison. Panic spread, fear began to take hold, and it seemed like there was no hope. In the midst of the chaos, Dr. Pierce's phone rang again. It was General Marcus, and his voice was strained. "What we've got isn't enough, Elena," he said, his tone urgent. "If we don't have more time, if we don't get this right, we'll be wiped out before we even know what hit us." Dr. Pierce clenched her jaw. She had always known this day might come, but the reality was much worse than she could have ever imagined. She turned to the console in front of her, watching as the countdown clock continued to tick down, each second bringing Earth closer to its end. As she looked at the screen, she saw the alien ships growing larger by the second, their arrival imminent. The tension in the air was palpable. Humanity had no choice but to act. But would it be enough? With the countdown winding down and alien ships closing in, Earth's defenses stood ready. But would they be enough to survive the onslaught? Would humanity have enough time to turn the tables on their attackers, or was Earth's fate already sealed? As Earth's final moments drew closer, the weight of the situation pressed heavily on everyone. The alien fleets loomed ominously above the planet, their dark shapes casting long shadows across Earth's surface. Cities around the world were filled with chaos and fear, but in the midst of the panic, the calm before the storm was brewing in secret. In the heart of a hidden underground command center, Dr. Elena Pierce and General Marcus stood side by side, staring at the data on the screens before them. Their minds were focused, sharp, and they knew that humanity's last chance rested in their hands. "We don't have much time," General Marcus said, his voice tense but controlled. His eyes never left the screen, tracking the movement of the alien fleets. "The first wave is already entering our atmosphere. We've got minutes at best." Dr. Pierce nodded grimly. She had spent years preparing for this moment, but even her greatest fears had never imagined a threat this vast. The aliens had underestimated humanity's ability to survive, but she wasn't going to let them make that mistake again. She turned to her team of engineers and military officers, all working feverishly behind the scenes to activate the final phases of Earth's secret defense network. The countdown clock continued its relentless tick, and outside, the skies darkened as the alien ships came closer. But Earth was not as defenseless as the invaders believed. Humanity had been preparing for this day, not with visible weapons, but with technology that had been hidden in the shadows. Earth's hidden defenses. Across the globe, Earth's defense systems were coming online. Satellite networks, once dormant, now hummed with activity. Hidden military bases buried deep within the Earth, and beneath the ocean sprang into action, launching advanced weaponry and positioning defense systems. From powerful EMP blasts designed to cripple the alien ships to massive energy weapons hidden in the deepest recesses of the planet, Earth was about to strike back with all it had. Dr. Pierce watched the screens, her mind racing. She knew their preparations might not be enough to stop the alien fleets completely, but it was their only chance. She had always believed in humanity's resilience, but now, more than ever, she had to hope that the hidden technologies they had developed would give them the edge they needed. As the alien ships entered Earth's atmosphere, the first volley of attacks began. Explosions shook the ground, and debris rained down on cities below. Panic erupted in the streets, but humanity's true weapon was not visible to the naked eye. It was the culmination of years of planning, kept secret from the world to avoid alerting the Galactic Council. The first wave of alien bombardment was met with Earth's secret weapons. Satellite defenses launched high-powered energy beams, cutting through the alien ships with precision. The alien fleet began to scatter, temporarily thrown off course by the unexpected retaliation. Dr. Pierce's heart raced as she saw the success of their initial strike. The alien fleets were not invincible. They could be hurt. They could be defeated. The unexpected counterattack. But just as Earth's defenses seemed to be gaining ground, a new threat emerged. The alien fleets had underestimated humanity's resolve, but now they were regrouping. The Kraktar warlords, furious at the damage their ships had sustained, initiated a counteroffensive. Their ships unleashed devastating energy blasts, destroying several of Earth's satellite defense systems in the process. General Marcus, watching from the command center, clenched his fists. They're not going to give up. We need to push back harder now. Dr. Pierce's mind raced. She knew they were up against impossible odds, but she also knew that Earth's resilience was its greatest weapon. The alien forces had underestimated the human spirit, the ability to adapt and fight back when all seemed lost. We need to buy more time, Dr. Pierce said, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around them. Activate the secondary weapon. General Marcus looked at her in disbelief. It's not ready. It's too risky. Dr. Pierce's gaze never wavered. We don't have a choice. It's our only shot. As the countdown clock ticked down to 0, Earth's final defense system came to life. Deep beneath the surface, in a hidden facility miles below the Earth's crust, an enormous machine powered up. This weapon, years in the making, was humanity's last hope. The machine activated, sending a pulse of energy into space. The shockwave reverberated through the alien fleet, temporarily disabling several of their ships. But it wasn't enough to stop the invasion. The Kraktar warlords had sustained too much damage, and they were relentless. The plan unfolds. The alien fleet may have temporarily lost their advantage, but Earth wasn't out of danger yet. In the underground command center, Dr. Pierce and General Marcus worked together, pushing the limits of human ingenuity. The alien invaders had thought humanity was weak, but now they were learning that Earth's true strength lay in its ability to adapt and fight back, even against impossible odds. Dr. Pierce turned to the team. We need to hold them off. We need more time to finish the final phase of the plan. The camera cuts to the stars once again, showing the alien ships regrouping and preparing for another attack. It was clear now that the battle was only beginning. The fight for Earth's survival had just started, and humanity had one chance to prove that they would not go down without a fight. As the alien fleets prepared for another devastating strike, Earth's last defense was poised to strike again. Would humanity survive, or would the invaders prove too powerful? The suspense continued to rise, and the fate of Earth hung in the balance. The tension on Earth grew as the alien fleets neared, their massive ships filling the sky, casting shadows over the terrified cities below. The countdown clock continued to tick, a constant reminder that the fate of the entire planet was hanging by a thread. People around the world feared the worst as news of the alien advance spread, but in the shadows, humanity's last hope was quietly taking shape. Deep beneath the surface of the Earth, Dr. Elena Pierce and General Marcus worked tirelessly with their team. Their mission was clear: hold back the alien invaders long enough to launch humanity's ultimate weapon. Despite the panic above ground, in the secret underground command center, there was no room for fear, only action. The initial wave of alien ships entered Earth's atmosphere, their deadly weapons beginning their bombardment. Explosions erupted in every major city, sending shockwaves across the globe. Panic was widespread, and the people, for a moment, lost all hope. But what they didn't know was that humanity had prepared for this day for years. Hidden technologies, long kept in secret, activated across the globe. Satellite systems, deep underground bases, and advanced weaponry, all unseen by the alien forces, sprang to life. Dr. Pierce watched the monitors, her mind racing as she processed the data. It was working. Earth's secret defenses were beginning to fight back. The alien ships, unprepared for such resistance, began to falter. Energy beams shot from satellites, striking the alien ships and sending them reeling. The tide of battle began to turn, but it was still a fragile hope. The aliens weren't going to retreat that easily. General Marcus turned to Dr. Pierce. "It's working, but we can't hold them forever. We need the secondary weapon activated. Now." Dr. Pierce hesitated. The secondary weapon was risky. It had never been tested on this scale before, and there were no guarantees it would work. But Earth had no other options. "Do it," she said. The decision was made, and the final phase of their defense plan was set in motion. Across the planet, secret military installations that had been dormant for decades sprang to life. From deep underground bunkers to hidden satellite stations in space, humanity's hidden arsenal was mobilized. As the first alien fleet continued its assault, Earth's counterattack was launched in full force. At the same time, back in the command center, Dr. Pierce monitored the situation closely. The alien forces were regrouping, but the surprise attack had disrupted their plans. The alien ships were scrambling, their formation breaking apart. The energy pulses from Earth's hidden weapons were taking their toll. But Dr. Pierce knew this wasn't the end. The alien forces were vast, and they wouldn't be defeated so easily. They would strike back harder. General Marcus, his face tight with determination, stared at the screens showing the alien ships. "We need to hold them off long enough for the secondary weapon to charge. If we can just get them to stay back for a few more minutes." Minutes felt like hours, and every second mattered. Across the globe, cities were on edge, hoping against hope that the defense would be enough to push back the alien invaders. But the question remained, how long could they hold out? The alien fleet, seeing their plans disrupted, began to retaliate. Their weapons intensified, launching massive energy blasts that tore through the air. Earth's defenses were buckling under the pressure, but they weren't breaking. The alien forces had thought humanity was weak. They had thought they could wipe out the planet with ease, but they were learning quickly that Earth wasn't going down without a fight. As the countdown clock neared its final moments, Dr. Pierce turned to General Marcus. "We're almost there. If we can just keep them off for a little longer." The first wave of alien ships was reeling, but more were on the way. Dr. Pierce's heart pounded in her chest as the time ticked down. She knew this was the moment. Humanity's last chance to strike back and turn the tide of battle. The camera cut to the stars once again. The alien ships had not stopped their advance, and the second wave was approaching. It seemed like Earth might be on the verge of annihilation. But the pulse from the secondary weapon was charging up, and humanity's secret weapon was ready to make its move. The air was thick with tension as the two sides stood on the edge of war. Could humanity pull off the impossible, or would the alien forces crush them before they had a chance to strike back? As the alien fleets drew closer, humanity's final defense was about to be unleashed. The battle for Earth had only just begun, and the stakes had never been higher. The countdown on Earth's final weapon continued as the alien fleets drew closer, their shadowy silhouettes now filling the sky above. In every city, people huddled in fear, watching the skies, and wondering if this was the end. Dr. Elena Pierce and General Marcus, along with the remaining command teams, were the only ones who knew that humanity's last hope was still alive. They just had to hold on a little longer. The primary defense systems were showing signs of strain. The alien forces had regrouped and were now hitting Earth with a renewed fury. Energy blasts rained down on the planet, smashing buildings, igniting forests, and sending waves of panic across the globe. Even though Earth's hidden defenses had caught the invaders off guard, the sheer size of the alien fleets seemed insurmountable. Humanity's resistance was strong, but the fight was far from over. In the underground command center, Dr. Pierce kept her eyes fixed on the screens, calculating every move, Every chance they had to buy more time. The secondary weapon, a weapon unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, was ready to fire, but the charge was slow, and the pressure was mounting. They had mere minutes before the alien ships would overwhelm them. "We're losing ground," General Marcus said, his voice low, almost a whisper. "The alien forces are pressing in on every front. We need that weapon online, now." Dr. Pierce took a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. She had designed this weapon, but she had never imagined it would come down to this. She knew the risk. It was humanity's last gamble. If it failed, Earth would be lost forever. But there was no turning back. "Activate the secondary weapon," Dr. Pierce commanded. The words were firm, but inside, she felt a weight she couldn't shake. This was the moment. Across the planet, the secret weapon was activated. High-powered satellites positioned in orbit began to charge, drawing energy from Earth's core itself. Meanwhile, hidden military bases began to launch their own assault, coordinated with the pulse from the satellites. The combined force was enough to send ripples through the alien fleet, disrupting their formation and slowing their advance. The first powerful pulse shot through the sky, aimed directly at the lead alien ships. It was a blinding beam of concentrated energy, unlike anything the aliens had ever encountered. The alien ships shook as the pulse hit, their shields flickering in an attempt to absorb the power. It was working. But the alien fleet wasn't finished. They regrouped, unleashing another round of deadly energy blasts. The sky erupted in flashes of light as Earth's defenses held firm, but just barely. Dr. Pierce and General Marcus stood by, watching the unfolding battle. The secondary weapon had given them a fighting chance, but it was only a temporary solution. The aliens were adapting faster than expected, and their retaliations were becoming more vicious. "We need to keep pushing them back," Dr. Pierce said urgently. "We can't give them a chance to reorganize. If we do, they'll overwhelm us." The battle between Earth's defenses and the alien forces raged on, each side pushing harder and harder. The alien fleets were vast, but humanity's surprise weapon was causing significant damage. The aliens, caught off guard by the sudden resistance, were now scrambling to respond. The fight was far from over, but for the first time, humanity wasn't on the defensive. They were holding their ground. Above Earth, the alien ships continued to descend. Their commanders, though angry and disoriented, began to regroup. The warlords of the Kraktar, the commanders of the Ferrix, and the leaders of the Vethiri, all united in their desire to destroy Earth, were not about to let one planet stand in their way. They would bring everything they had to bear on the humans. As the second pulse from Earth's weapon was fired, a massive wave of energy coursed through space, pushing back several of the alien ships. For a moment, the tide seemed to turn. The Earth's forces had managed to shift the balance, but only for an instant. The secondary weapon, though powerful, was draining resources at an alarming rate. The alien fleets began to respond more aggressively, launching their own countermeasures and retaliating with overwhelming force. The pressure on Earth's defenses intensified, pushing humanity to the brink. Every second felt like a lifetime. The countdown clock continued to tick, and the alien fleets were drawing closer, ready for the final push. At that moment, Dr. Pierce made another chilling realization. Earth's primary defense systems were nearly exhausted, and the secondary weapon was far from perfect. It had delayed the inevitable, but it couldn't stop the alien onslaught forever. "There's no more time," Dr. Pierce whispered, staring at the screens. "If we don't finish them off now, we might not get another chance." With the alien forces closing in on Earth's last remaining defenses, the battle reached its most critical point. Would humanity's ingenuity, resilience, and sheer determination be enough to turn the tide? Or would Earth fall to the combined might of the galaxy's most powerful species? The next few moments would determine the fate of Earth and the future of humanity itself. As the alien fleets closed in, their massive warships casting ominous shadows over Earth, The world's defense systems strained under the weight of the relentless assault. The skies over major cities were filled with explosions as alien firepower bombarded Earth's last strongholds. Yet, amid the chaos, the flickering hope that humanity could survive this onslaught began to grow stronger. Dr. Pierce paced back and forth in the underground command center, her mind racing. The secondary weapon had done its job, buying them time. But it was only a matter of time before the aliens adapted. The combined forces of the Galactic Council had one goal: to destroy Earth. The hope now rested solely on the shoulders of the scientists and strategists who had spent years preparing for this moment. "General, they're regrouping," Dr. Pierce said, her voice tense but steady. "They'll be ready for another strike in minutes. We need to think of something else, something they won't expect." General Marcus, who had been overseeing the Earth Defense Forces, nodded grimly. The alien forces had been stunned at first by humanity's unexpected resilience, but they were already adjusting. "What do you have in mind?" he asked. "I'm working on something," Dr. Pierce replied. "But it's risky. It's not ready, but we don't have a choice. We need to force their hand, make them waste their resources, and give us enough time to finalize our final plan." The tension was palpable in the room as both humans and machines worked tirelessly to prepare for the inevitable counterattack. Earth's cities were in disarray, with millions of people still unaware of the full extent of the ongoing battle. Governments and military forces scrambled to communicate with one another, trying to organize resistance, but the alien fleets were too fast, too organized. Over the horizon, the lead Kraktar warlord ship took position. Its immense form blotted out the stars behind it, a cold, calculated beast ready to destroy anything in its path. The Kraktar were ruthless and unyielding, and their warlords were not known for mercy. But humanity had something the Kraktar and their allies didn't: adaptability. Dr. Pierce, who had been working around the clock, adjusted the coordinates of the final weapon and transmitted them to Earth's command center. She had to make sure that everything was aligned perfectly for the strike. As the countdown to launch began, she looked at General Marcus, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. "This is our final play," Dr. Pierce said, her voice determined. "Once we launch this, we will show them that Earth will not go down without a fight." The countdown continued as Earth's last hope became ready for action. The weapon, hidden in plain sight and embedded in Earth's advanced satellite network, was a game-changer. Humanity had developed a way to harness the planet's natural energy, turning it into an overwhelming force that could strike back at the alien invaders. But even with everything in place, the battle wasn't over. The Kraktar, Ferrix, and their allies had one more surprise in store. As Earth's weapon powered up, the alien fleets unleashed a barrage of fire, hoping to destroy the satellites before they could activate. The tension reached a fever pitch as Earth's weapon fired its first shot into the void of space, hitting the Kraktar flagship directly. The energy beam exploded with such force that it shook the foundations of the planet, sending a shockwave across Earth's atmosphere. The Kraktar warlord ship staggered under the blow, its shields faltering, but it was not enough. The alien forces retaliated with everything they had, turning their fire towards Earth's weapon. In the underground command center, Dr. Pierce watched as the battle played out on the screens before her. "It's working," she murmured, "but not enough. We need more power, more force." General Marcus was already moving to the control panel, working with his team to channel every last bit of Earth's remaining energy into the weapon's next strike. "We can't let them recover. We hit them now. Full power." The second shot from Earth's weapon shot out like a streak of lightning, a wave of pure energy that cut through the alien ranks. The beam pierced through the alien ship's defenses, ripping it apart from the inside out. The alien fleets, stunned by the power of the attack, faltered for a moment, creating a brief window of opportunity. Dr. Pierce had done it. The weapon was starting to show its true power. But the battle was far from over. The aliens who had underestimated humanity were now on the defensive, but their forces were still massive and dangerous. For the first time in the battle, the momentum had shifted, but Earth's forces were far from winning. As the alien fleet regrouped, the next strike would determine everything. Would humanity's last hope be enough, or would it all be destroyed in a final devastating wave of alien might? With the weapon charging for another strike, the countdown clock ticked away. The pressure was on, and Dr. Pierce could feel the weight of the entire planet on her shoulders. The fate of Earth, and humanity itself, was now in the hands of those who had fought for it, in the face of impossible odds. Could they turn the tide and win, or was this just the beginning of their struggle for survival? The final chapter was about to be written, and every second counted. The alien fleets, having suffered a blow they hadn't anticipated, began to regroup, their immense warships shifting in formation. For a brief moment, Earth's defenders saw hope, a glimmer that maybe, just maybe, they could hold their ground. Yet, as the alien forces reorganized, their resolve only grew stronger, and their numbers swelled once more. The galactic threat was far from over. Dr. Pierce stood at the command center, her gaze fixed on the massive holographic display in front of her. The weapon had given Earth a moment of respite, but she knew it wouldn't be long before the alien fleets launched their full-scale retaliation. The Kraktar flagship was already recovering, its damaged systems slowly coming back online, and the Ferrix were preparing for another wave of destruction. "General Marcus," Dr. Pierce said, her voice firm but tinged with exhaustion, "we need to keep up the pressure. If we don't keep them on the defensive, they'll overwhelm us." General Marcus, standing beside her, nodded. "We're working on it, but our resources are almost depleted. Earth's forces are scattered, and the weapon can only do so much. We're running out of time." The tension in the air was thick. The countdown to the next alien attack was ticking relentlessly, and Earth's defenders were spread thin, with no time to reorganize. Cities that had once stood proud now lay in ruins, and humanity's resolve was being tested like never before. Yet, despite the overwhelming odds, there was one thing the aliens had failed to account for: humanity's resilience. As the alien fleets readied themselves for the next wave, an unexpected transmission came through the comms. Dr. Pierce's eyes widened as she read the message. It was from an underground network of civilian resistance groups that had been secretly developing their own weapons. A new strategy, one that would strike at the heart of the alien forces, was ready to be executed. "This is it," Dr. Pierce whispered, turning to General Marcus. "This is what we've been waiting for." The transmission outlined a coordinated plan to deploy Earth's final defense, a series of hyper-advanced drones designed to infiltrate and disable the alien warships from within. The drones were a marvel of human ingenuity, small enough to evade detection yet powerful enough to tear apart the alien ship's core systems. With little time to waste, Dr. Pierce and General Marcus authorized the plan. The countdown to the next alien attack was approaching zero, and Earth's final strike was already in motion. The camera zoomed in on the small drones as they were launched into space. These sleek, silent machines fed toward the incoming alien fleets, their advanced AI guiding them toward their targets with deadly precision. As they approached the alien ships, they blended into the background, almost invisible to the alien sensors. Meanwhile, Earth's remaining forces continued to fight off the alien assaults. Cities that had been battered were now deserted, with survivors taking refuge in underground shelters. The fight had become one of survival, as humanity's courage and willpower were pushed to the limits. Back in the command center, Dr. Pierce watched as the drones silently infiltrated the alien warships. Each one penetrated deep into the heart of the enemy fleet, planting devices that would disable key systems. The countdown continued, each passing second bringing Earth closer to its final chance for survival. The first wave of drones hit their targets, sending shockwaves through the alien ranks. The Kraktar warlord ships began to malfunction, their energy shields flickering as systems failed one by one. The Ferrix fleet, once so confident in their superiority, was thrown into disarray. "They're falling apart," General Marcus said, his voice filled with disbelief. "It's working, Dr. Pierce. We might actually win this." But just as hope began to surge, a new threat emerged. A massive alien flagship, larger than anything Earth had ever seen, broke through the chaos. It was the final weapon of the Galactic Council, the one ship that could destroy Earth in a single strike. It was a ship unlike anything humanity had ever faced, its power far beyond anything Earth's weapons could handle. The cameras zoomed in on the monstrous vessel as it loomed over the Earth. It seemed invincible, a symbol of the overwhelming power of the Galactic Alliance. Its cannons charged, ready to unleash devastation upon the planet. "Brace for impact," General Marcus shouted as the command center shook. The ship's weapons fired, sending waves of energy crashing toward Earth's remaining defenses. But just as the massive blast was about to reach Earth, something incredible happened. The drones, having infiltrated the alien flagship, triggered a series of explosions that disrupted the ship's systems. The energy from its own weapons backfired, creating a massive burst of power that detonated the ship from the inside. The alien fleet, leaderless and in disarray, began to retreat. Their once impenetrable forces had been shattered by humanity's unexpected ingenuity and unyielding spirit. As the alien ships flooded into the vastness of space, Earth's defenders stood victorious. The skies cleared, the fires dimmed, and for the first time in what seemed like forever, there was silence. Humanity had won, but it was a victory that came at great cost. The battle was over, but the war for Earth's survival had changed the galaxy forever. Dr. Pierce, standing in the command center, finally allowed herself a moment to breathe. It was over. For now. But the galaxy would never forget the day humanity turned the tables on those who sought to destroy them. And as the survivors of Earth looked to the stars, they knew one thing: humanity was no longer a species to be ignored or underestimated. Earth had proven its place in the universe, and no one, no matter how vast, how ancient, or how powerful, would dare challenge humanity again. Humanity's victory over the alien threat echoed through the universe like a thunderclap, reaching even the most distant corners of the galaxy. The Galactic Council, once united in their determination to exterminate Earth, was left reeling. No one had expected humans to be capable of such a strategic and devastating counterattack. The alien forces, having retreated in shame, were now questioning their own superiority. The Ferrix, Cractar, and all the other species that had once looked down on humanity now had to reckon with the undeniable truth. Earth had proven itself a force to be reckoned with. The aftermath of the battle was both triumphant and sobering. Earth's cities were in ruins, their once proud landmarks now smoldering ashes. Yet amidst the devastation, there was an unshakable sense of hope. Humanity had not only survived, but had turned the tables on the most powerful civilizations the universe had ever known. The war had cost them dearly, but they had prevailed against all odds. Dr. Elena Pierce stood before a holographic map of the galaxy, the weight of victory and loss settling heavily on her shoulders. Though the alien fleets had been defeated, the war was far from over. The Galactic Council was fractured, their trust in one another shattered. Some species would seek revenge, while others would reconsider their position in the new galactic order. "General Marcus," Dr. Pierce said, her voice steady, though her eyes betrayed the exhaustion that clung to her. "We've won this battle, but the war is not over. They won't forget what happened here." Marcus nodded grimly, his own expression hardening. "We need to be ready. We can't afford to be caught off guard again." Humanity's leaders convened in secret, aware that their success had earned them enemies among the galaxy's most powerful species. But they were also aware of the opportunity that lay before them. Earth's victory had sent a clear message across the stars. Humanity was not just a primitive species to be ignored. They were a force capable of standing toe-to-toe with the galaxy's mightiest civilizations. In the weeks that followed, Earth began to rebuild. The survivors, though scared by the horrors of the war, moved forward with a renewed sense of purpose. The scientists who had created the weapons to defend Earth now turned their attention to rebuilding and advancing humanity's technological edge. What had once been a desperate fight for survival had turned into a new era of human innovation and progress. As Earth's people began to heal, the rest of the galaxy watched. The alien species that had once deemed Earth unworthy of attention were now forced to reconsider their view of humanity. Some began to see humans as a potential ally, while others were wary, knowing that they had underestimated the human spirit and ingenuity. A new galactic order was beginning to take shape, one where Earth would no longer be ignored or threatened. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, and as the galaxy adjusted to this new reality, there was one thing everyone knew for certain: the universe would never be the same again. But the victory was bittersweet. While Earth had repelled the alien invasion, it had come at a great cost. Lives were lost, cities were destroyed, and the scars of the war would linger for generations. Yet in the aftermath, there was a sense of unity among humanity. The planet had been pushed to its limits, but had found strength in its darkest hour. And now, with the alien fleets retreating and Earth standing strong, humanity was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In the far reaches of space, the remnants of the Galactic Council gathered in secret, their plans now shifting in light of Earth's unexpected triumph. The Council's decision to destroy humanity had backfired, and now they had to reconsider how they would deal with a species that had proven to be far more resourceful, resilient, and dangerous than they had ever imagined. Earth's leaders, meanwhile, were already making plans to secure their future. They had learned many valuable lessons from the invasion, and the technologies developed during the conflict would ensure that humanity would never be caught off guard again. They were ready to defend their home and explore the galaxy, knowing that their place in the universe had been secured. As Earth began to rebuild, Dr. Elena Pierce stood before a new council of leaders, her eyes reflecting the wisdom gained from the battle. "We have proven that no one can challenge us without consequence," she said, her voice firm. "We are no longer a species to be overlooked. From this day forward, we will stand united, not just for Earth, but for the future of humanity in the galaxy." And with that, humanity stepped into a new chapter of its history, one that would be defined not by its struggles, but by its triumph. The universe had learned a powerful lesson. Earth may have been underestimated, but now, no one would dare forget the strength of humanity's will. The Galactic Empire was known throughout the stars as an unstoppable force, feared by every species that crossed its path. It had conquered countless planets, crushed resistance, and enslaved entire civilizations. For centuries, the Empire's rule was absolute. No one dared challenge its might. That is, until they turned their eyes toward Earth. The Galactic Council, a powerful group of alien leaders, had long watched humanity from the darkness of space. At first, Earth was just another backwater planet in the far corner of the galaxy. The humans were primitive, their technology was laughable, and their world was just another dot on the map. But that changed quickly. As humanity's technology advanced at an incredible rate, the Empire began to take notice. In just a few short decades, Earth's people developed weapons that rivaled even the most advanced alien civilizations. They sent spacecraft to the moon, built massive space stations, and even created artificial intelligence that could think and learn on its own. The Empire knew that Earth had the potential to become a serious threat. One by one, the Galactic Council's members convened, discussing how to handle the problem. The insect-like Ferrix, known for their ruthlessness, spoke first. "Earth's rapid development must be stopped before they become a true threat," said their leader, his voice cold and calculating. "If we allow them to grow any further, we may find ourselves facing an enemy we cannot defeat." Next, the Xerox, towering beings made of thick armored skin, spoke in deep voices. "Their progress is unmatched. Their scientists are too clever for their own good. If we wait, they may surpass us." Their massive figures loomed in the chamber, their eyes glowing with the intensity of their words. We cannot afford to let Earth become a power in the galaxy. The Vetheri, energy beings made of pure light, pulsed with irritation. Humanity is too chaotic, too unpredictable. We cannot allow them to exist any longer. Their potential to destroy us all is too great. And then the Kraktar warlords, the most feared warriors in the galaxy, growled in agreement. Let us crush them. The humans will fall before us. They are weak, and they will never know what hit them. It was clear that the Council had made up its mind. Earth was to be destroyed. The plan was set into motion immediately. Across the galaxy, fleets of warships began to assemble. Massive vessels filled with alien soldiers and weapons, ready to invade Earth. The Ferrix would lead the charge, their insectoid ships skimming across the surface of space at terrifying speeds. The Gerak would land first, their great strength overwhelming any human resistance. The Vetheri would control the energy fields, ensuring that nothing could escape Earth's atmosphere. And the Kraktar would destroy everything in their path, tearing down humanity's defenses with brute force. As the alien ships prepared for launch, the Council felt a sense of cold satisfaction. They were certain this would be the end of Earth. Humanity had no chance. The sheer power of the Empire was too much for the humans to withstand. But as the first fleets entered hyperspace, a whisper of doubt began to stir within the Empire's leaders. They had underestimated one thing: humanity's ability to adapt and fight back. On Earth, people were going about their lives, unaware of the impending doom. Scientists, politicians, and world leaders were busy with their own problems, unaware that a force beyond their comprehension was gathering in the stars. They had no idea that their world was about to be shattered by a fleet of alien invaders. But in the hidden command centers of Earth's top military and scientific minds, there was no panic. Instead, there was preparation. For years, Dr. Elena Pierce, a brilliant scientist and military strategist, had feared that one day someone would see humanity as a threat. She had been quietly working on a plan, developing weapons and defenses that could protect Earth from an invasion. Dr. Pierce knew that Earth was vulnerable. The Empire had the power to wipe them out in an instant, but humanity was resourceful. They had survived against all odds before, and this time would be no different. She stood in the control room of a secret underground facility, staring at the holographic map of the approaching alien fleets. The countdown had begun. In just a few short hours, the Empire would arrive. Her voice was calm, but there was a sense of urgency in her words as she spoke to General Marcus, the leader of Earth's defense force. We've been preparing for this moment for years, but we still don't have enough. We need more time. The Empire thinks we're weak, and we have to let them believe that. Let them underestimate us. That's how we'll win. General Marcus nodded. He understood the importance of their secrecy. They couldn't reveal their plans just yet. The world was still in the dark, and it had to stay that way. The Empire needed to believe that humanity was helpless, that there was no resistance to stop them. But little did the Empire know, Earth had a secret weapon, one that would change the course of the war. Dr. Pierce had spent years developing advanced technologies that would give humanity a fighting chance, but the Empire's fleet was already on its way. They had no time to waste. The countdown continued, and with each passing second, Earth's fate seemed more uncertain. Would humanity survive, or would the Empire crush them beneath the weight of their vast power? As the first alien ships broke through Earth's atmosphere, humanity was ready to face its greatest challenge yet, but no one could predict what would happen next. The vast expanse of space was silent as the fleet of the Galactic Empire neared Earth, a dark cloud of destruction looming overhead. The Empire's ships, sleek and deadly, tore through the void, their engines glowing with the promise of devastation. The alien forces were united, each species contributing their might to the invasion, their shared goal clear: to enslave Earth and eliminate humanity once and for all. But as the first of the alien ships entered Earth's atmosphere, something unexpected happened. A faint pulse of energy rippled across the planet, unnoticed by the invaders, but enough to set off a chain of events that would shake the Empire to its core. At first, the Empire's commanders paid no attention. They were certain Earth's defenses were nothing more than a joke, a weak show of force that would crumble before the might of their fleet. The Kraktar warlords were already preparing their landing parties, eager to get on the ground and crush any human resistance that dared to rise up. The Ferrix ships hovered above the planet, ready to bombard cities from space, while the Xeric forces began to position themselves for a swift, ground-shaking assault. But unbeknownst to them, Earth had spent years secretly preparing for this moment. Dr. Elena Pierce, the brilliant scientist who had warned of the potential invasion, had been working tirelessly behind the scenes, coordinating with the world's best military minds. The first sign of Earth's secret preparations was the appearance of strange energy fields around key cities. No one could have predicted what was coming. Back at Earth's secret underground base, Dr. Pierce and General Marcus watched in tense silence as the first alien vessels descended toward their targets. The countdown had ended, and the first wave of alien ships were moments away from landing. But Dr. Pierce remained calm, her mind racing with the complex algorithms and hidden weaponry that had been set into motion. "We've been ready for this for years," she muttered under her breath, watching as the alien ships came closer. Let them come. On the surface, Earth's cities were in chaos. People rushed through the streets, some in panic, some in confusion, unsure of what was happening. Governments around the world scrambled to respond, but there was little they could do. The alien invasion was happening faster than anyone could react. But far beneath the surface, a different story was unfolding. Dr. Pierce's eyes locked onto the screen as a series of emergency signals lit up, indicating that Earth's hidden defenses were beginning to activate. Underground bunkers began to rise, revealing massive weapons that had been buried deep beneath the Earth's surface. In secret labs around the world, humanity's best minds had developed advanced technologies, far beyond what the Empire had ever expected. Now, it was time to reveal them. The first wave of alien ships began to open fire, their weapons blasting toward Earth's cities. But just as the energy beams struck their targets, something remarkable happened. A powerful force field appeared, enveloping the cities in a shimmering blue barrier. The alien weapons bounced off harmlessly, unable to penetrate the shield. The Empire's commanders were caught off guard, their smug expressions quickly turning to shock as they realized that Earth was not as defenseless as they had assumed. "What is this?" one of the Ferrix commanders shouted in disbelief, watching as their weapons failed to even scratch the surface of the invisible barrier. How is this possible? Back at Earth's secret base, Dr. Pierce allowed herself a small smile. The first phase of their plan was working perfectly. The Empire had underestimated humanity, thinking that Earth was just a primitive world that could easily be crushed. But now, they were beginning to realize that Earth had been preparing for this moment for far longer than they could have imagined. "General," Dr. Pierce said, her voice steady but filled with urgency, "this is our chance. We need to deploy the next phase. The shield is holding, but it won't last forever. We need to take the fight to them." General Marcus nodded, his face grim. "I'll give the order. We'll strike first." As the alien forces began to regroup, their ships hovering above the cities, Earth's counterattack was set into motion. Hidden weapons, long buried beneath the ground, began to rise, revealing massive cannons and energy beams that could match the Empire's advanced technology. Satellite-based weapons began to lock onto the alien ships, firing precision-targeted lasers that pierced the hulls of several vessels. Alien ships began to fall from the sky, their once imposing forms now burning and disintegrating as Earth's retaliatory strike took them by surprise. The Empire's commanders were in full retreat now, their initial confidence shattered. They had underestimated Earth, believing that their superior technology would be enough to crush the humans. But they were wrong. Humanity had a hidden strength, a resourcefulness that the galaxy's greatest empires could not comprehend. Earth had prepared, not just with advanced weapons, but with something far more dangerous, the will to fight. Dr. Pierce stood in front of the holographic map, watching as the alien ships began to break formation and scatter. It was a small victory, but it was a victory nonetheless. Humanity had struck the first blow. "General, we need to press the advantage," Dr. Pierce urged. "We can't let them regroup. This is our moment to show the galaxy that we will not go down without a fight." The camera pulled back, showing the chaos unfolding across the world. The first battle had been won, but the war was far from over. Earth had proven that it could hold its own, but the Empire was vast, and its forces were not easily defeated. The Empire's fleet was now in disarray, but the real test was still to come. Would humanity's defenses hold up against the full might of the Galactic Empire, or would Earth fall to the might of its invaders? Only time would tell. As the camera panned out to show the vastness of space, the looming threat of the Empire's remaining forces could still be seen. The true battle had only just begun, and the fate of Earth was far from certain. As the dust settled from the initial clash, Earth stood at the crossroads of survival and annihilation. The alien invaders, caught off guard by the unexpected defense, were regrouping, but they were not beaten. The Galactic Empire had resources beyond what humanity could comprehend, and they were relentless in their pursuit of conquest. For them, the brief disruption to their invasion was nothing more than a setback. Yet, despite the Empire's overwhelming power, the humans were not about to give up. Dr. Elena Pierce and General Marcus stood in the heart of Earth's command center, watching as the alien ships hovered above their cities. The battle was far from over, but the tide had turned, at least for the moment. "How much longer can the shields hold?" General Marcus asked, his voice grim. Dr. Pierce didn't look up from the holographic map that displayed the alien fleet's movements. "The shields were designed to hold up against sustained fire, but they won't last forever. We need to keep them off balance, keep them guessing. We can't let them regroup." As she spoke, the camera zoomed in on the enormous ships circling Earth's atmosphere. The Empire had dispatched reinforcements, larger ships bristling with weapons. The initial assault had failed, but this second wave would be far more dangerous. Earth's defense systems, though impressive, were still no match for the full might of the Empire. They needed more time, more technology, more power. "Initiate Phase 2, Dr. Pierce ordered, her voice unwavering. "Activate the satellite grid." The command was relayed instantly. Hidden deep within Earth's infrastructure were satellites that had been secretly launched years ago, far beyond the knowledge of the general public. These satellites had been designed to intercept the most advanced alien weaponry and to deliver their own powerful countermeasures. Above Earth, the first of these satellites powered up, their immense energy surging as they locked onto the alien vessels. Then, with a flash, beams of light shot from the satellites, striking the largest alien ship in their fleet. The explosion was deafening, as the ship crumpled under the impact of the high-powered lasers. One down, many more to go. The alien commanders were stunned. The battle wasn't going as they had planned. Their pride had been hurt, their underestimation of humanity exposed. They quickly ordered the fleet to shift tactics, sending in small groups of ships to bombard Earth's cities directly. But this time, Earth was ready. The ground shook as massive anti-aircraft cannons, hidden beneath Earth's surface, sprang to life. They fired massive energy blasts, sending alien ships spiraling down from the sky. In moments, several ships were down, and the alien forces began to scatter, retreating back into orbit. It was clear that Earth's defenses were stronger than expected. Yet, even as the alien fleet recoiled, Earth's leaders knew that the respite would be brief. The Empire was relentless, and if the fleet wasn't completely crushed now, it would only regroup and return stronger. In the heart of the Empire's command center, the supreme leader of the Galactic Empire paced nervously. His forces had suffered significant losses, and despite the vast strength of his fleet, he had underestimated the humans. They were not the primitive species he had once thought. Humanity's ability to adapt, to fight back, was something the Empire had never encountered before. "We can't allow this to continue," the leader muttered. "Send in the Xerox battalion. It's time to finish this." The Xerox were a terrifying species, massive, powerful warriors capable of overwhelming any defense. Their warships were equipped with weapons that could wipe entire continents from the face of the planet in an instant. The leader knew that Earth's defenses, however advanced, would be nothing compared to the destructive might of the Xerox. As the Xerox ships moved into position, Earth's defenders braced for the next wave. Dr. Pierce, watching the enemy fleet on the screen, turned to General Marcus. "They're sending in their heavy hitters," she said, her voice tense. "If we don't strike now, we might lose everything." "We'll be ready," General Marcus replied, his face set in determination. "Our counterattack begins now." Across the globe, Earth's forces mobilized. The last of humanity's hidden weapons, buried deep beneath the surface for years, began to emerge. Massive launchers, armed with powerful projectiles, were aimed directly at the incoming Xerox warships. The air crackled with the energy of humanity's greatest creation. Dr. Pierce watched as the first salvo was launched, a massive beam of energy streaking through the atmosphere toward the alien fleet. The shot struck one of the Xerox ships, creating an explosion so powerful it sent shockwaves rippling through space. Earth had delivered another blow. But even as the humans celebrated their first victory against the Xerox, they knew that they were in a race against time. The alien forces were vast, and the Galactic Empire would stop at nothing to conquer Earth. The first battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The fate of humanity rested on the edge of a blade. Earth had fought back with everything it had, but would it be enough? Could they continue to hold their own against an empire so vast and so powerful? As Earth's defenses powered up for another strike, the camera pulled back, showing the alien forces gathering for one final assault. The Empire had suffered losses, but it was not done yet. The question remained, would Earth survive this impossible war, or would the Empire's strength finally crush humanity's last hope? The tension in the air was palpable. Earth's future was uncertain, and the next move would decide everything. The Xerox battalion had arrived, and their sheer power sent a ripple of fear across Earth's defense forces. The alien warships, towering behemoths with shields as strong as planetary crusts, loomed ominously in Earth's orbit. Their weapons crackled with energy, and their presence alone made the entire planet seem small and fragile. Yet humanity had no choice but to stand firm. The stakes had never been higher. Dr. Elena Pierce stood in the control center, her eyes fixed on the glowing screen before her. Her mind raced as she calculated their next move. The Xerox were fearsome, their warships equipped with weapons that could obliterate entire cities with a single shot. Earth had to be ready. The countdown was already in motion. Humanity's survival depended on their next strike. "The Xerox ships are entering the attack range," General Marcus reported, his voice tense. "We have to act fast, or they'll hit the major cities. We won't be able to stop them once they start." Dr. Pierce nodded, her heart pounding. "Launch the countermeasures. All units, prepare for Phase 3. Around the world, the moment had arrived. Hidden weapons, designed with technology far beyond what the aliens expected, sprang to life. Massive cannons embedded deep within Earth's surface activated, their energy charging with a hum that vibrated through the ground. Satellites designed to disrupt alien shields locked onto their targets. The first salvo was fired, a brilliant stream of energy cutting through the sky. It struck the Xerox warships, sending shockwaves through their massive structures. But the alien ships were not defeated so easily. The Xerox were relentless, and their counterattack was swift. A barrage of energy blasts rained down on Earth, targeting cities, military bases, and critical infrastructure. In an instant, entire buildings were reduced to rubble. The skies above cities like New York, Tokyo, and Paris were filled with flames as explosions ripped through the skyline. Humanity's biggest cities were under siege, their defenses struggling to hold back the overwhelming power of the Empire. General Marcus watched in horror as the destruction unfolded before his eyes. "We're losing ground," he muttered. "If we don't stop them now, there won't be any Earth left to defend." Dr. Pierce clenched her fists, her mind working furiously to come up with a plan. "We still have one option left," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos. "It's a long shot, but it could work." The general turned toward her. "What's the plan?" Dr. Pierce took a deep breath, her gaze hardening. "We have one more weapon, something the Empire doesn't know about. It's a prototype, but it's our last chance. We'll have to launch it from the moon." The tension in the room was palpable as the realization of the plan hit everyone. The moon had been used as a launch point for several of humanity's most secret weapons, but launching a weapon of this magnitude was risky, especially with the Xerox ships closing in on Earth. But there was no other choice. As the battle raged on, Earth's forces prepared for the most dangerous mission yet. Dr. Pierce's eyes scanned the map, pinpointing the location of the prototype weapon. A shuttle, equipped with the prototype, was waiting at a secret base, but getting it to the moon, and then delivering it to the heart of the Xerox fleet, was a nearly impossible task. The alien ships were everywhere, and every minute that passed made the mission more difficult. "We need to move now," Dr. Pierce said, her voice tight with urgency. The shuttle was launched from its hidden base, cutting through the atmosphere as it made its way toward the moon. Earth's forces held off the Xerox with everything they had, buying the shuttle precious time to reach its destination. Meanwhile, the alien fleet prepared for their final strike, an all-out bombardment that would turn Earth into a lifeless wasteland. The shuttle was barely a speck in the vastness of space, but to the crew inside, it felt like the weight of the entire planet was on their shoulders. As they neared the moon, they could see the Xerox fleet in the distance, a dark mass of ships blocking out the stars. "Prepare for launch," Dr. Pierce said, her words steady despite the pressure. "This is it." The prototype weapon, a powerful energy pulse designed to penetrate the Xerox nearly indestructible shields, was ready. It was the last hope Earth had. As the shuttle approached the moon's surface, the weapon was activated. Back on Earth, the tension was unbearable. The alien fleet hovered above the planet, waiting for the moment to strike. Cities burned beneath them, and humanity was on the brink of defeat. But Earth had one final weapon, one final chance. The camera zoomed in on Dr. Pierce's face, her expression a mixture of hope and dread. The countdown was almost over. Would the weapon be enough to turn the tide, or was Earth's fate already sealed? As the camera cut to the launch site on the moon, the massive energy pulse shot into space, heading straight for the heart of the Xerox fleet. It was the last thing the Empire would expect, and possibly the key to Earth's survival. The pulse of energy shot through the darkness of space like a streak of light, traveling toward the heart of the Xerox fleet. On Earth, the fate of billions of people hung by a thread. The Empire had been relentless, their weapons devastating, and their assault had reduced Earth's major cities to rubble. But humanity had something the aliens couldn't have predicted: resilience and an unyielding will to fight. On the surface of the moon, the team watching from the hidden lunar base could only hope their efforts would be enough. Dr. Elena Pierce, back in Earth's command center, stood with her arms crossed, staring at the monitor. Her face was taut with worry, her mind racing through every possible scenario. "Will it work?" General Marcus asked, his voice filled with a quiet desperation. "It has to," Dr. Pierce replied, her voice low but filled with determination. "We've already lost too much. But this could change everything." The energy pulse was racing through the void, faster than any human-made weapon had ever traveled. The Xerox fleet, still unaware of the weapon's potential, maintained their tight formation above Earth. They were confident. Their ships were untouchable, their forces overwhelming. But Earth had not yet shown them the full extent of its capabilities. In the control room, a low beep sounded as the pulse neared its target. The camera zoomed in on Dr. Pierce's tense face, the atmosphere heavy with suspense. The weapon was now on a collision course with the heart of the Xerox fleet. Back in space, the Xerox fleet didn't notice the energy pulse until it was too late. A massive explosion ripped through the front line of their warships. The pulse, designed with a powerful core of anti-shielding energy, shattered the Xerox defenses like glass. Their ships, once thought indestructible, were now vulnerable. The blast sent a shockwave through the fleet, and several of the largest ships disintegrated, their wreckage floating into the void. Dr. Pierce watched in disbelief as the Xerox ships began to falter. The pulse had worked, and the impossible had just become a reality. The camera shifted to the battlefield above Earth, where the Xerox fleet, stunned and disoriented, began to retreat. But the battle wasn't over yet. The Empire still had an overwhelming force, and their fury would soon turn toward Earth. "We did it," General Marcus muttered, almost in disbelief. "But this is far from over. They'll regroup, and when they do, we'll be facing an even greater threat." As the Xerox fleet recoiled, the remaining ships fired back, unleashing a barrage of energy that shook Earth's defenses. It was clear the aliens wouldn't give up so easily. The pulse had created a brief window, but Earth's survival was still uncertain. Humanity had just proven its ability to strike back, but now they had to make the most of it. Across the planet, Earth's forces scrambled to regroup, readying their remaining defenses and launching counterattacks against the retreating Xerox ships. It was a race against time. Would the Empire regroup before Earth could build a lasting defense? As the camera cut back to Dr. Pierce, her eyes narrowed in focus. She knew the next move would be critical. "Prepare Phase 4, she ordered, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "We can't let them regroup. We've only got one chance to end this now." With the tide of battle shifting, Earth's forces began their counteroffensive. Fighter jets and spacecraft launched from hidden bases, firing energy blasts and missiles into the remaining Xerox ships. The goal was simple: finish what the pulse had started and prevent the aliens from regrouping. As the battle raged on in space, Dr. Pierce's mind raced through the possibilities. The Empire was ruthless, and their warlords were determined to make Earth pay for this setback. But humanity had one thing the Empire didn't: ingenuity and the ability to adapt. Dr. Pierce knew the key to winning this war was more than just weapons. It was about using Earth's vast resources and ingenuity to turn the tide. All units, engage the remaining Xerox ships. "Let's make sure they know Earth is not a planet to be trifled with," General Marcus commanded, his voice filled with a renewed sense of purpose. As humanity's forces pressed forward, Earth's final defense systems came online, and new weapons, designed in secret, began to turn the tide. Earth was fighting back. But the question remained: would it be enough to stop the Empire, or was this merely the beginning of a larger conflict? With every passing minute, humanity's resilience was being tested. But one thing was certain: Earth would not go down without a fight. The Empire's forces were regrouping. Despite the unexpected setback caused by Earth's weaponized pulse, the Xerox warlords were far from defeated. Their ships, though damaged, were still formidable, and their resolve had only hardened. Across the stars, the Empire's other factions were beginning to converge, ready to crush Earth once and for all. The galaxy had never seen a war like this, an all-out assault on a planet that had, until now, been ignored and underestimated. On Earth, the mood had shifted. The initial victory had brought hope, but it was fleeting. Humanity now faced the most terrifying reality. The Empire wasn't just coming to conquer, it was coming to annihilate. In the underground war room, Dr. Elena Pierce paced nervously, her eyes glued to the holographic displays that detailed the movements of the Empire's fleets. She could see the enemy forces drawing closer, their ships streaming across space like an unstoppable force. The Xerox warlords, relentless and unyielding, had gathered their full might. Their forces were large enough to wipe out entire star systems, and Earth was next on their list. "The Empire is preparing something big," Dr. Pierce muttered to herself, her fingers hovering over the control panel. "They'll strike hard. We need something more." She turned sharply to General Marcus, who was seated at the table, his brow furrowed with concern. "We don't have much time. We need to launch everything we've got and hit them where it hurts the most." General Marcus nodded grimly. "But they're too strong. Our conventional weapons won't do it this time." Dr. Pierce's eyes narrowed. "Then we need to get creative. Humanity's strength has always been its ability to innovate under pressure. This is no different. We've already shown them we're capable of surprising them. But now we need a game changer." As the countdown to the Empire's final assault ticked closer, Earth's forces scrambled to finalize their preparations. Fighter jets, once relegated to Earth's atmosphere, were now re-engineered for space combat. Military scientists worked tirelessly on the next weapon, the one that would determine the fate of humanity. Yet even with all their resources, Dr. Pierce felt a knot in her stomach. The Empire was too vast, its reach too great. How could Earth possibly win against a force like that? Across the globe, the remnants of Earth's military forces were beginning to regroup. In every major city, people were huddled together, waiting for the inevitable. Families had made peace with the thought that their world was about to end. And yet, despite the overwhelming odds, there was still a flicker of hope. It was the same hope that had ignited humanity's fight back at the beginning of the war. The unshakable belief that Earth, though small in the grand scheme of the galaxy, would not go down without a fight. As Earth's final defense systems powered up, Dr. Pierce worked on her latest creation. It was a desperate measure, but it was humanity's last shot. She had been working on this for months, studying the Empire's tactics and weaknesses. If it worked, the Empire's last gambit would be their final mistake. But if it failed, humanity's resistance would be crushed, and Earth would fall. "Phase 5 is ready," Dr. Pierce said, her voice shaking with the weight of what was about to unfold. "If we're going to make it, this is our only shot." The camera zoomed in on the screens, showing Earth's newly developed weapon. It wasn't just another weapon of mass destruction. It was something more, a device capable of disrupting the very fabric of the Empire's war machines, a device that would turn the tide of the war in an instant. As the final preparations were made, Dr. Pierce and General Marcus shared a look. It was a look of understanding, of silent acknowledgement that everything they had worked for had come down to this one moment. Would the weapon work? Would it be enough to stop the Empire's relentless advance? The Xerok fleet, now in position, fired the first salvo. The skies above Earth shimmered with the light of incoming energy blasts. For a moment, it seemed like the end was near. But then, as the Empire's forces unleashed their fury, the Earth's weapon activated. A pulse of energy shot into the void, a surge of power that collided with the oncoming Xerok fleet. The first wave of ships staggered, their shields shattering in an instant. It was a sign of the weapon's success, but the fight was far from over. The remaining Xerok ships regrouped, launching a counterattack. Dr. Pierce's heart pounded in her chest as she watched the battle unfold. The pulse had worked, but the Empire was still strong. Earth's defenses were holding, but only just. The real test had begun. Would humanity's ingenuity be enough to keep the Empire at bay, or had they underestimated their foes one last time? As the battle raged on, Dr. Pierce and General Marcus knew one thing for certain. This would be the final showdown, and the fate of Earth would be decided in the next few hours. The final moments of the battle were nothing short of chaotic. The Xerok fleet, disoriented but relentless, began to regroup, their ships reforming in tight formations, each one an extension of the warlord's fury. Earth's final weapon had created a brief window of hope, but the Empire was far from defeated. The skies above Earth were alive with energy blasts, as both sides fought for control of the planet's fate. The once quiet blue world now stood at the center of a galactic war, its future uncertain. In Earth's war room, Dr. Elena Pierce and General Marcus exchanged tense glances. They had known this day would come. The day when humanity's very survival would hang in the balance. They had fought for so long, and now they were about to see if their strategies would hold. "We can't keep this up," General Marcus said, his voice strained as he studied the battlefield displays. "The Xerok are relentless. They've adapted to our tactics." Dr. Pierce's eyes were fixed on the screen, watching the Xerok ships close in. She had no more plans, no more backup strategies. The last weapon, the one they had been saving, was their final option. "We have one more chance, but it's a long shot. It could work, or it could destroy us all." "Then we do it," Marcus replied, his resolve clear. "We can't let them win." Dr. Pierce pressed a button, initiating the last phase of their plan. From deep within the Earth's core, hidden beneath layers of rock and steel, a massive machine began to power up. It was humanity's ultimate gambit, a device capable of generating a field strong enough to destabilize the Empire's entire fleet. But this weapon would not just harm the enemy, it would come at a tremendous cost. The sky above Earth rippled with energy as the machine activated, sending out a pulse that created shockwaves throughout space. The Xerok fleet staggered once more, their shields flickering as the machine's signal distorted their systems. For the first time, the Empire's invincible forces seemed vulnerable. But just as humanity's victory seemed within reach, the unthinkable happened. The Empire had anticipated this final move. Their own countermeasure, an ancient energy-draining technology, began to drain the power from Earth's weapon. The pulsing energy from the machine flickered, weakened, and began to fade. Dr. Pierce's heart sank. "It's failing. We can't let it end like this," Marcus said, his voice grim. He turned to the control console. "Activate the backup system. All remaining energy." The last of Earth's power reserves, everything they had left, poured into the weapon. The Earth trembled as the final charge was sent into the machine. With a surge of energy, the weapon fired one last time, sending a beam of pure energy into the heart of the Xerok fleet. The sky was lit with a brilliant flash, and the very fabric of space seemed to twist under the strain of the attack. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, the impossible happened. The Xerok fleet, which had been so close to crushing Earth, began to falter. Ships exploded, their energy systems overloaded by the sheer power of humanity's final strike. One by one, the ships fell, their once unstoppable war machines now reduced to debris. The Empire's forces were shattered. The battle was over. Dr. Pierce watched in awe as the last remnants of the Xerok fleet were destroyed, their once great ships now floating lifeless in space. Earth had won, against all odds. But at what cost? The war room was eerily quiet, the weight of victory heavy in the air. General Marcus stood still, staring at the screens, unable to believe what had just transpired. "We did it," he whispered, though the words felt hollow. They had won. But the price had been high. Humanity had risked everything. And now, the world lay in ruins. The war had been won, but the true cost of their survival would take years to recover from. As Dr. Pierce took a deep breath, she knew the fight for Earth's future wasn't over. The galaxy had seen what humanity was capable of, how far they would go to protect their home, their families, and their way of life. The Empire had underestimated them, and now, Earth stood victorious. But the scars of the battle would remain, and the road to rebuilding would be long and uncertain. In the end, humanity had proven one thing beyond a doubt. They would never surrender. And as long as they stood together, there was no force in the galaxy that could defeat them. The Empire had failed miserably, and humanity had emerged stronger than ever.